So another good day in the NBA last night, and we're going to recap the games here for the fantasy aspect and the regular season aspect. And the first game of the night here was the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics. So the Pistons get their first win of the season here with a shocking 96-93 victory over the Celtics. So the Pistons go to 1-4, and the Celtics now 3-3 after this ball game. Now let's go to the stat line here for the Celtics. Will start off. Tristan Thompson, he came back and he played pretty decent. 5 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists in this one for Tristan Thompson. So Thompson, he's not going to do much in many categories, but he's going to help in rebounds. He'll score about 8 to 10 points a game, and he'll add a couple block shots, and he'll be decent from a field goal percentage standpoint. And in this game, he was 50%, but only 4 field goals attempted. Now on to Jason Tatum, a pretty decent game for him in this one. Just his three-point shooting wasn't all that good. 28 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists here for Jason Tatum on 11 of 24 shooting from the field. He was 3 for 5 from the line and 3 for 11 from 3. So Jason Tatum, if only one knock on his game, is his three-point shooting's got to improve as the season goes on and the years in that point. But Tatum here, he had a good game, 28 points. He was picked in the first to second round, and for the most part in these first 6 games, he's putting up those good numbers. Marcus Smart, another start for him, big minutes, 38 minutes, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 of 14 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3, which is surprising for Smart. Smart, he's a pretty decent player. He's going to help you in a bunch of categories, but field goal percentage and 3-pointers and foul shooting, he's not going to help in much. But in this game, to see him shoot 50% from threes, an encouraging sign, going 3 for 6. But Smart's a player. He'll do a lot of good things for your fantasy teams. And for the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, after coming off 42 points the other night, another solid game for him here in 37 minutes, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 12 for 20 from the field. So Brown, he's playing lights out once again this season. This game, the only knock on him, 1 for 7 from 3. So hopefully he can improve as well, like Tatum at the 3-point line. Daniel Thesis, 23 minutes, non-impact, 2 points, 6 rebounds, 1 for 2 from the field. And Theus, he's a guy set to drop last week at the center position. And once again here, what a no-show type of game for Theus. He's better in real life than in fantasy basketball. Jeff Teague, he came off the bench in this one. 20 minutes of work, 12 points, a rebound, 3 assists, 4 for 5 shooting, 3 for 4 from the foul line, and he went 1 for 1 on his 3-point attempts. Jeff Teague, he was a guard I said to drop early in the week, and I stand by it. He only got 20 minutes in this game. This is one of his better performances of the season, but he still hasn't put up huge numbers really, was Teague. So Teague, he's a player I'm just not going to pay attention to or have in mind for in fantasy. Williams, 19 minutes, 8 points, 5 boards, 4 for 7 shooting. He's not going to have value. Pritchard, he's been on the radar a little this week, but he didn't do anything in this one. 16 minutes of play, 2 assists. The other Williams here, 11 minutes of work, 5 rebounds, no fantasy value. And Kemba Walker still out with the left knee. No new news on him. So we'll see. Now we'll go to the Detroit side of things. Blake Griffin was out in this game once again with the concussion, but Jeremy Grant, he continues to do good things here. And Grant, 24 points, 4 rebounds. The only knock on him in this one, he shot under 40% from the field, 9 for 24, but he's been a good fantasy player. And I thought he would be a bad guy to get this year in fantasy, but so far in the first 5 games, he's living up to the contract. So Jeremy Grant, 2 for 9 from 3, 4 for 5 from the foul line. Those stats have to improve for him, but he's still putting up good numbers and having good games for fantasy owners. The rookie Bay here, 17 points, 7 rebounds and assists, 5 for 8 from 3, which is real good. 2 for 4 from the foul line and 5 for 11 from the field. So Bay here, he's a pretty decent player. He's a rookie. I'm not going to go to the wire and pick him up yet, but he's a guy to keep an eye out for. He played 30 minutes in this one, and a very solid game. To add 5 threes is huge. Killian Hayes, I said to drop him last week, and once again, a bad stat line for him. 23 minutes, 1 rebound, 6 assists, 0 for 5 from the field, and 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. So Killian Hayes, he has no value right now. I know he was a high drafted, touted rookie from overseas, but maybe he's not ready yet for basketball here in the NBA, but we'll see. But right now, I'm dropping him. He holds no value, and he's just not doing anything. To score no points here and have a mediocre game in other categories, I could get rid of him. Josh Jackson, 26 minutes, he got the start. 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. So Jackson, he's not on the radar yet for me, but it was a decent ball game for him. And if he's going to keep starting and playing some big minutes, then it's a guy to look into. But right now, he has no value. Mason Plumlee, another huge game for him. 8 points, 17 boards, and assist. 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 4 from the foul line. So Mason Plumlee, he was a center I said to pick up last week, and if you did, it's paying off for fantasy owners right now with these big games here for Plumlee, and hopefully he keeps it up. He was a big offseason signing, and me and many people probably thought, why would the Pistons give him all this money? But so far, I know it's only 5 games, but he's showing that he's worth it. Is Plumlee with big rebound games. He's usually had more assists in the first few games than he did here tonight. So Plumlee, he did well here. Derrick Rose, 24 minutes, 17 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 7 of 12 from the field, 3 for 4 foul line, 0 for 3 from 3. So Derrick Rose, he's going to have value. He's going to play 25, 30 minutes a game. And Rose, he still has it. The thing with him, obviously, for years now is if he could stay healthy. But in this one, he played well and he has fantasy value. DeLon Wright, he was a pickup this week I recommended, but in this game, he didn't do anything. 21 minutes of work, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 for 4 from the field, and 0 for 1 from 3. So DeLon Wright, he's not getting it going as much as you would think. But I wouldn't drop him yet. We'll wait and see what he does the rest of the way. And then the rest of these guys, they don't have value in this one. I know Mila Cook had 9 points and Stewart 18 minutes, 8 points, 5 rebounds, but these guys don't have value. And Blake Griffin, hopefully he comes back in the next game after going down with the concussion. So that was Boston and Detroit. Now on to Memphis and the Hornets, and the Grizzlies win another one here, 108-93, and both teams now 2-3 on the young season. And we'll go to the Grizzly side of things to start it off. Kyle Anderson, I've recommended to pick him up. And he had another huge game here tonight. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 of 15 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line, and 2 for 6 from 3. So Anderson, he's putting up big numbers. He's been a great pickup, and the former Spur, he's finally breaking out here for this Memphis Grizzly team. And this Grizzly team, they're not going to be that good, in my opinion, this season. So Anderson, he's going to get every chance to shine and play big minutes, even with Jaren Jackson and Justin Winslow still out for this ball club. Brandon Clark, he was a guy recommended to drop, but in this game, he dropped a good game. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 for 11 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line, 1 for 4 from 3, and 31 minutes of work here for Clark. So Clark, he's a pretty decent ball player. Last season, he had a good breakout year, but he was a guy I just wasn't high on, and he's been inconsistent so far early in the season. So Clark, if you want to take a flyer on him and get him on your fantasy team, why not? But right now, I wouldn't trust him that much as Clark. But it was good to see him get good minutes in this one. Tyus Jones, the fill-in for Ja Morant, with a good ball game in this one. 6 points, 1 rebounds, but the 12 assists is obviously what stands out in this ball game for Tyus Jones. 3 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. But Jones, he's going to be an assist specialist in the absence of Morant and Bane. He'll be more of the scoring guard for Morant, who's out 3 to 5 weeks. But Jones, he's worth a flyer. He's worth a pickup, especially if he could have big assist games like he did here tonight. Brooks with another good game here, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 for 17 from the field, and a whopping 10 threes tried in this ball game, and he went 5 for 10 from 3, so that's a good stat line. He's been putting up good numbers so far, is Dillon Brooks, and hopefully it continues here. Valanciunas, another solid double-double, and he's been money so far this year, Valanciunas. The only knock on him, he don't shoot threes, and he's got a little bit of an injury track record throughout his career, but 14 and 10, 25 minutes of gameplay, and an assist, and he went 6 for 9 from the field, which is great, and 2 for 4 from the foul line. Now Bane, I said he'd be the scoring guard here for this Grizzly team, and I actually added him in a league the other day. 28 minutes of work, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 for 12 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. So Bane, he's going to be a guy that's going to take a lot of shots off the bench here for this Grizzly team, and he's a pure scorer, in my opinion. So if you need some scoring and a couple assists, I think Bane's a decent pickup because, like I said earlier, Morant's going to be out 3 to 5 weeks, and Bane, he could fill a decent role on your roster. Conquer, pretty good game, but still don't hold value to me. 7 points, 9 boards, 5 assists, 3 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. Gorgie Jang, he was a player I said to keep an eye on as the weeks were going on, and he's been playing decent now. 22 minutes of gameplay, 14 points, 8 rebounds, and an assist, 5 for 9 from field goal, 2 for 2 from the line, and he actually added 2 threes in this one. So Jang, he's an interesting guy, and he's a guy probably that I'm going to have in my waiver wire video coming up here in week 3 is a guy to look at the forward and center position. Now on to the Hornets. PJ Washington, 22 minutes of play, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from the line, 2 for 4 from 3. So Washington, he's a solid player. Today the points weren't all that great, but he's still going to be solid for many fantasy owners like he's been so far. Gordon Hayward, he's been up and down this year, and he's a guy I said sell high last week after a couple big performances. And this one, another mediocre game for Hayward. 27 minutes, he went 14 points, 3 rebounds, and assists, 5 for 13 from the field, 3 for 3 from the line, and only 1 for 2 from 3. So Hayward, we'll see if he could pick things up and get things going. But in this game, he just couldn't get that going. Devontae Graham, he's a player I said he'd be struggling this season so far, and I said to buy him low early in the week. And another bad game here for Graham. 24 minutes, 3 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, a putrid 1 for 10 from the field for Graham, and 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. So Graham last season, it was a great season for him. He broke out, but in this game, he just couldn't get anything going, and hopefully he bounces back in the next one. Terry Rozier, I said to sell him high after a few games, including a big 42-point game opening night for this Hornet team, and he had a bad game as well. 1 for 11 from the field, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in 27 minutes of play, 3 for 3 from the line, and 1 for 3 from 3. So Rozier, last week was the perfect time to sell him high, and another bad game here for him. So we'll see if he bounces back or not. Bismack Biyombo, his best game so far since he's filled in with Zeller with the injury. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists in 28 minutes. And he also was 7 for 10 from the field and 2 for 4 from the line. So Biyombo, I said he's a specialist in rebounding and blocking shots, but in this game he gives you a little bit of everything. And I recommended him as a pickup at the center position this week. And if you got him, this was a good payoff game to help your fantasy team. LaMelo Ball, another pretty decent game for him here. 15 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. 6 for 14 from the field, 1 for 2 from the line, and 2 for 7 from 3. So LaMelo, the critics have been knocking on his shot, that it's been off and not a good jump shooter, has been the word coming out of the NBA draft. But in this game, LaMelo Ball had a decent ball game, and he did attempt 7 threes, but only hit 2 of them. The more he's going to play in practice, I think he'll get better at it. And remember, he's only 19 years old, but he still had a pretty decent game. Mikal Bridges, he had an off game in this one after having a big double-double the other night. 2 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 2 from the 3. The Martin guy's not bad, 14, 2, and 2. And Josh McDaniels and Richards, they're not going to have fantasy value. So that was the Hornets and Grizzly recap. Now the Heat and Mavericks. The Mavericks win the game 93-83. Low-scoring game here. This is a 90s type of score in this one with these both teams, but a good ball game here for the Mavs on defensive end to hold the Heat to 83 points, and maybe the Heat, they're on a championship hangover, but it wasn't a good game for many guys in this one. Andre Iguodala, 13 minutes, 3 points, 2 rebounds. He's a player I've said who's had no fantasy value, and once again he played minor minutes and he didn't fill up the stat sheet. Jimmy Butler, he came back and he didn't do much at all in this one. 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 for 6 from the field, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. So Butler, I think he'll be back to normal in a few games. Just right now, he's working his way back from the ankle and the wear and tear that he had to deal with in the finals, because he was banged up in that finals, but he was a warrior and he still played. So Butler, I think it's just an off game. And it'll take him a few games to get back into the mix of things. Tyler Hero, he didn't have that great of a game either. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 11 from the field. Hero had a huge game the other night with a nice double-double and 16 rebounds, but in this one, he just didn't get it going. But I think Hero will be fine. He's going to be a good fantasy ball player this year, and it was an off day. Duncan Robinson, another bad game for him in back-to-back games now. 5 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from the foul line, and a bad 1 for 8 from 3. So Robinson, he's a streak scorer. He's a streak shooter, and right now he's in a bad streak, but when he gets going, he could easily hit 5 to 6 threes a game and have a 20 to 30 point game. But Robinson right now, we just can't find the rhythm or get anything going. Bam Adebayo, the only bright spot pretty much in this game for the Heat, 19 and 11, 8 for 12 from the field, 2 assists he added. And Bam, he was a second, third round pick in most fantasy drafts for a reason, with him putting up big numbers and making plays and helping this Miami team get to the finals last season. And Bam, he's helping fantasy owners in a big way so far this season. So it's good to see him have another nice double-double. Dragic, pretty decent game. Just bad field goal percentage. 0 for 6 from the field, 28 minutes, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists for Goran Dragic. So Dragic, he's had some good games already this season, and he's a good guy to have on your fantasy roster, and he'll continue to have games like this, I think, the rest of the way, and he'll have some huge games like he did the other night with 26 points. Kelly Olynyk, he's up and down for fantasy, but I think he's worth an own in 12 to 14 team leagues, and he had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in this one, 3 for 10 shooting the ball, though, which is bad, and 2 for 7 from 3. So it was just an off game altogether for this Heat team, and hopefully they bounce back for themselves and for fantasy owners in the next game. Avery Bradley, 15 points. Solid game for him in 17 minutes. A rebound and an assist, 5 for 8 from the field, 3 for 4 from the line, 2 for 4 for 3. So Bradley, he has some fantasy value. And Mo Harkless, he's not going to have value. He didn't do much. And Kendrick Nunn, he's just out of the rotation right now. And so is Myers Leonard. These guys, they're not playing minutes. And right now, they're going to have no fantasy value, obviously, at this time. Now we'll go to the Dallas Mav side of things. Finney-Smith, 22 minutes, 12 points, 5 rebounds. 5 for 8 from the field for Finney-Smith. 2 for 5 from 3. Decent game, but I don't think he's at the level right now where he's owned in fantasy leagues at a good rate. Tim Hardaway, one-trick pony. He's a scorer of the basketball, and in this one, he had 18 points, but a bad field goal percentage, 6 for 18, and 3 for 10 from 3 lines. So Hardaway, he'll get you scoring, but that's pretty much about it. He don't do anything else except score, and obviously help in the 3-point range. So Hardaway, hopefully he could get better. Luka Doncic, 35 minutes. Huge game for him. This is a game we've been waiting for Doncic. 27 points, 15 boards, 7 assists in this one. 9 for 22 from the field, 6 for 9 from the foul line, but 3 for 10 from 3. So Doncic, he was a top 5 pick easily in fantasy drafts, and I even saw him go number 1 in a couple leagues and mock drafts. And right here, this was the type of game you've been expecting all season. But right now, his field goal percentage isn't at a good rate, Luka, and hopefully that goes up as the games go on. Josh Richardson, another mediocre game for him, and he's a guy I said to sell high heading into the week. And another game, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 for 5 from 3 for Richardson, 5 for 10 from the field. So not a great game, like I said, mediocre. Dwight Powell, 28 minutes, 2 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 for 4 from the foul line. And Powell, I said he's not the guy you want to own until Porzingis comes back on this Maverick team. Maxi Kleber is the guy, but in this one, he wasn't the guy either. 5 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist. But he still got 27 minutes of work. these guys, they're pretty much at a split here until Porzingis comes back. But even when Porzingis comes back, he'll be on a time limit restriction, I believe. Trey Burke, 17 minutes, 8 points, 3 boards, 2 for 5 from the field. I don't think Burke will do much, and he don't have much fantasy value unless an injury happens. James Johnson, 8 points, 3 rebounds, and assists in 12 minutes. 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. Jalen Brunson, 12 minutes, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. So Brunson, he's not going to help fantasy owners. Willie Cauley-Stein, he's not going to do much. That was the Mavin Heat review here. Now we'll go to the Brooklyn Nets and the Atlanta Hawks in a rematch from the other night. And the Hawks this time get the better of the Nets with a big ball game here for Atlanta, winning 114-96, and they improve on the season now to a good record at 4-1, and the Nets fall to 3-3 in this one. And for the Hawks, John Collins, another good game, 20 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, a nice 9 for 14 from the field, and 2 for 5 from 3. So John Collins, he's really getting the job done right now for this team, and it looks like he's been worth his second, third round draft position right now. DeAndre Hunter, another good game and a recommended pickup last week. A whopping 9 for 10 from the field, 90% that is. 3 for 4 from 3, 23 points, 6 boards and an assist. And Hunter right now, he looks like a better player than Gallinari, who's obviously been out, and even Bogdanovich, because he's getting the starts and he's playing more minutes. Trae Young, a quiet game for his standards. 21 points, 5 boards, 7 assists in 32 minutes of play, and a bad 7 for 21 from the field. But Young, you know he's a stud. He's going to get things going. He gets to the foul line a lot. And even in a bad game, he still had 21 points in this one and the 7 assists. Cam Reddish, another decent game for him. 12 points, 7 boards, and assists in 31 minutes here. And Reddish, he's surprisingly playing major minutes still for this team, even with the signings of Gallinari and Bogdanovich here in the offseason. So it was good to see him have a good ball game right now. So we'll see what he could do. I think he's going to be good and stay in the lineup. And Clint Capella, center, I said to buy low on with a good game in this one. 12 points, 11 boards, 6 assists, 6 for 10 from the field. So Capella, he fits this Hawk system pretty good right now. And he's going to play a decent amount of minutes, 25 to 30 minutes a game. And to see him in this one have a good game was good to see. And if you didn't buy low on him now, the time might be wrong right now to go get him. And too late for that. Bogdan Bogdanovich, 7 points, 2 boards, and assists, 2 for 6 only from the field. I would like to see him get more attempts and be more consistent. And so far, the consistency hasn't been there as much as I would like to see it or fantasy owners. Solomon Hill, he's not going to have value, but he did play 23 minutes with 6 points, 4 boards. Kevin Huerter, he's on the fringe of having value or not. 21 minutes, 10 points, a rebound, 2 assists. Goodwin, 15 minutes. And then Gallinari with the foot injury and the DNP. And now Rajon Rondo hurt again with left knee soreness. So these two guys, they've been annoying to add so far here early in the fantasy basketball season. And these guys, they could be droppable at some point, and I think I'm close to dropping Gallinari in one league because right now he's not even qualifying for the injured list, and that foot injury seems more serious than believed in my opinion. So that's it on the Hawk side of things. Now to the Nets. Kevin Durant, what a season so far for Durant. I thought it would take him some time to break in, but another huge game for him. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 for 21 from the field, 6 for 6 free throw shooting, and 2 for 7 from 3. So Durant, it looks like he hasn't missed a beat. His conditioning, his scoring, and everything is just there for him. He's pretty much the same player he was before the injury. Joe Harris, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. So Harris, these are the type of stat lines I believe we'll see more than what we did the other night, where he had 23 points in that game. Kyrie Irving, another good game, but his shooting percentage was woeful in this one. 6 for 21 from the field and a bad 2 for 11 from 3, but he had 18 points still, 11 boards, 4 assists. Irving so far, surprisingly, he's played in 5 of the 6 ball games here for the Nets, but with him, I would sell him high still. knowing he might get hurt and he's going to miss a bunch of maintenance days as well. Carabat, he don't have value. 20 minutes, 2 points, a rebound, and assist. DeAndre Jordan, 8-5, an assist right now. He's on the fringe of being dropped, in my opinion, is DeAndre Jordan. He just doesn't do too much of anything. And another mediocre stat line here for him. Caris LeVert, I said to buy him low. And this is the time right now because soon I think he's going to play major minutes if Durant and Irvin are going to rest or if someone else gets injured here. So Caris LeVert, 8 points for him in this one. LeVert, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 for 10 from the field. He's got to get better in that category. Jarrett Allen, 22 minutes, 5 points, 4 rebounds. He didn't do much in this one after a huge double-double the other night. But Allen, I still believe in him. I think he'll have a good role in this offense. And it was a one-off game. Landry Shamet, he's not a guy I want to own. He's not playing consistent minutes or that much for this net team. And I just can't own him unless I'm in a 16 to 18 team league or whatever. Jeff Green, he's got no value. He only played 8 minutes. So that's that for this box score with the Nets and the Hawks. Next game, the Lakers and the Spurs. And the Lakers finish off the back-to-back sweep of the San Antonio Spurs here. 109-103. This was a close ball game, but the Lakers pulled it out here in the fourth quarter. And the Lakers, Anthony Davis, he finally had that big ball game in this one that I've been waiting for, and many fantasy owners have waited for. 34 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, 13 for 26 from the field, 4 for 7 from the line, and 4 for 6 from 3. So Davis, he's been struggling a little, but it was good to see him get 26 attempts in this one. And this is what he needs, the ball in his hands more, which he got in this ball game. He played well. The Lakers pulled it out. It was a close game, and this is the domination Davis owners and the Lakers have been waiting for after we saw him have a great playoff and finals run last season. LeBron James, another triple-double for him, and this guy's like fine wine. He gets better with age, it seems like, is James. And I'm not a big James fan, to be honest, but this guy, he puts up numbers. You got to respect it. He's got 4 titles, even though he's been to 10 finals, but 26, 11, 10 assists, 8 for 22 from the field, 7 for 7 from the line, and even added 3 for 7 from three-pointers. So LeBron, I thought he would miss some games early in the season. That's why I didn't take him in many fantasy drafts. But LeBron James, he's still putting up numbers, and he's played every single game so far in the first 6 for the Lakers. Dennis Schroeder, another decent game for him. 32 minutes of work, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 6 for 15 from the field for Schroeder, 3 for 5 from 3. And Schroeder, he's getting the job done. He's playing very good, Schroeder, and he's fitting into this Lakers system pretty good. So another good game for him. Caldwell Pope, only 17 minutes of work, and right now he don't really have fantasy value. He did have 11 points, 2 boards, and assist, 4 for 8 from the field, 1 for 2 for 3. But with a guy like Schroeder there, another guy with the ball in his hands a lot, Pope, he's not going to have as many chances and opportunities, I believe, like he did last season, especially in the playoffs. Marc Gasol, he was the center I said to drop, and in this one, he only had 1 field goal attempt, and he was 0 for 1. He did have 8 boards and 3 assists, but you can find better centers and bigs on the free agent marker. So Gasol, if you still have him for whatever reason, he has another game where he didn't do much, I would drop him. Wes Matthews, after a big game the other night, he didn't do anything here in 25 minutes of work. No points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. And like I said the other night, even though he had a good game with the 18 points, I don't think he was going to have fantasy value. And again here tonight, he didn't do anything. So Wes Matthews, he's not on the radar, and he shouldn't be on your rosters. Kyle Kuzma, a mediocre game here, 5 for 11 from the field, 11 points, 11 and 4 rebounds in 23 minutes. Kuzma, I still would hold on to him if I'm in the deepest of leagues here right now. But I don't know if he's going to play much as the season goes on. Right now, the Lakers, they're going about 10, 11 deep in the rotation. Montrezl Harrell, another bad scoring game for him. 11 rebounds, though, in 23 minutes. Only 4 points and 1 assist, 2 for 6 from the field. So right now, Montrez, we got to see him get better. He was started off to a great start, but the last few games his scoring's gone down. But obviously this is a guy you don't drop, and you just hope that he gets his numbers back up and plays well. Horton Tucker, last game he didn't play. This one he did get 14 minutes. 5 points, 1 rebound, 2 for 6 from the field. The Lakers, they're high on him. But fantasy owners, you shouldn't go out there and get him. He's not going to play many minutes. It's going to be inconsistencies, and there's going to be nights where he's not going to play at all, depending the game script. And Markieff Morris, 12 minutes, 3 points, 4 boards, 1 for 4 from 3 in field goal. He's not going to be a player I want on my fantasy roster. So Markieff Morris, if you have him for whatever reason, get rid of him. Now to the Spurs side of things, DeMar DeRozan, he continues to surprise me with another good game, and he almost had a triple-double in this one. 23 points, 9 boards, 7 assists, 8 for 16 from the field, 4 for 5 from free throw, 3 for 4 from 3. So DeRozan, he's been playing good this season, and he's adding a little bit of everything. I thought he would just be a one-trick pony in the scoring and free throw percentage, but he's even hitting threes. He's getting 7-8 assists a game so far this season. So hopefully DeRozan keeps it up, and he wants a new contract next season. So he's balling out. Keldon Johnson, 26 points, 10 boards and assists, 7 for 11 from the field, 7 for 8 from the line, and even 5 threes out of 9 attempts. So Keldon Johnson, he was a recommended ad this week, in fantasy basketball at the forward position, and he showed up here with a big game. And right now, if some way, somehow he's still on your waiver wire, I would go out there and get him. DeJounte Murray, another decent game. He had 12 points, 8 boards, an assist, 5 for 13 from the field, 29 minutes of play, 2 for 4 from the foul line. And right here, in this game, we saw White come back, but Murray's still going to be the starter. He's going to play the major minutes, I believe, at the position. So I like Murray. Lonnie Walker, he was a recommended pickup as well this week. And Walker, 23 minutes of play, 8 points, a rebound, and 3 assists. And right now, with White back, he's going to eat into Walker's playing time. Walker, I still wouldn't drop him yet. I would wait a few games to see how things pan out with White back into the mix, but Walker, he didn't have many opportunities or attempts in this one. Poultry, another game where he started, but he didn't give anything in the stat line. No points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 0 for 1 from the field, 0 for 4 from the line. So Poultry, he don't have fantasy value. He's a player I'm not going to target, even though he's starting. He's putting up useless lines. Patty Mills, 24 minutes of work, 10 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, 3 for 7 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line, 2 for 4 from 3. So Patty Mills, he's a pretty solid player, but I don't think he does enough to garner a roster spot in fantasy lineups. Rudy Gay, you know what you're going to get for him. He's going to score the basketball. This one he did 15 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, but a bad 6 for 16 shooting from the field and a bad 2 for 8 from 3. But Rudy Gay, I still think he's worth roster spots in fantasy leagues. And he had a good game in this one, scoring. Just his field goal wasn't good. Ebanks had 23 minutes and nothing. He did in this one with 5 boards and assists, so he don't have value. And now Derek White, he's back in the mix. 9 points, a rebound, and assist, 3 for 9 shooting. And they were high on him. They gave him the contract extension. A lot of fantasy owners wanted him this season, and he went 7th, 8th round was White. So it's no surprise he had a good game in this one. Decent game for a guy coming back from the toe injury, and now it makes things interesting for Lonnie Walker and Murray owners to see how many more minutes White's going to play as he gets healthier. And in this one, LaMarcus Aldridge, he was a player I was down on coming into the season because of age, and he missed this game already with left knee soreness. So that's something to keep an eye on, and we'll see what he could do and when he's going to come back here for the Spurs. Hopefully it was just a maintenance day, and he'll be back the next game for them. So that was the Lakers and Spurs box score. Now the Bulls, the Bucks with a big bounce back victory, 126-96. So we'll go to the box score here for the Bulls. Otto Porter Jr., he had a huge ball game the other night, but in this one, an underwhelming performance. In 22 minutes of work, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 for 11 from the field, and he added a 3. Williams, he had a decent game, 8.6 rebounds, 4 for 11 from the field. And Williams here, he was a rookie I said to pick up last week. And Patrick Williams, another decent game here. He's starting for this Bull team, and he's a guy to keep an eye on. I know Lauri Markkanen, he didn't play in this one, really. But Williams, he's worth an ad and a look as well as this week. Kobe White, he didn't have a great shooting game in this one, but we saw him have a big game in his last outing. And White, he's a guy you just got to ride with him. He's going to go through his up and downs. He's a streaky shooter, and in this one, in 28 minutes, he had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in this game, 4 for 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. So White, he's going to have up and downs, like I said, but he's going to get all the chances, and he's going to play a major role for this Chicago Bull team. Zach LaVine, he's going to be the main man there and scoring the basketball for this Bull team. And a mediocre game for him, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 of 16 shooting for LaVine, and 1 for 4 from 3. So it wasn't a great game for LaVine. He still got 16 points, and we're just waiting for him to have that huge explosive game to come up for LaVine. Now with Wendell Carter, 12, 5, and 3, a decent game. But Wendell Carter, I keep saying he's a player I wasn't that high on coming into the fantasy basketball season. And here he was 5 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 for 3, and he played 25 minutes. So I don't think he'll be that great of an option. And he'll have some good games and some bad games. Thaddeus Young in his second game back, 22 minutes of work, 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 of 5 from the field. So Young, he's a guy to keep an eye on, but I wouldn't rush out to the wire right away and try to get them. Denzel Valentine, 20 minutes, 14 points, 5 boards, 5 of 8 field goal, 2 of 3 for 3. So Valentine, he's had value over the last few years on and off. He's a streaky player, but I wouldn't go out there right away. We got to wait and see if his role continues to grow, and he's going to play. Gary Temple, decent game. He's not going to have value. Gafford, again, an all right game, not much. But Lauri Markkanen, he didn't play in this one. And Markkanen, he's been a guy that's been annoying to own so far in the fantasy basketball season, but I'm not going to drop him yet. Is Markkanen. Now on the Buck side of things, Giannis, he had a triple-double in his last game, and in this one he almost did it again. 29 points, 12 boards, 8 assists, 9 and 19 from the field, 10 of 18 from the foul line. And this is the problem with Giannis. We say all the time, his foul shooting and three-point shooting is the problem. And if he could get that together, Giannis, he could easily average 32, 35 points a game, and his field goal percentage would be much better. So if he could work on those things, he's the undisputed number 1 overall guy in fantasy. Chris Middleton, a nice bounce-back game for him. 14 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 for 10 from the field, and 2 for 2 from 3. So Middleton, he's a pretty solid player. It looks like he's the number 2 option, just a little bit over Drew Holiday here for this Buck team, and we saw it again with a good ball game in this one for Middleton. And 6 for 10 from the field, he got his points early, and this one turned into a blowout by the third quarter. Drew Holiday, 11 points, a rebound, 4 assists. He only had 9 shot attempts. He did shoot 3 for 6 from 3. Holiday, another guy, he'll have great games and he'll have mediocre games. And on this night, it was a mediocre game for him. But I'm still got faith in him, and I think he's a solid player. Dante DiVincenzo in this one, 9 points, 19 minutes, 11 points, a rebound and an assist, 4 for 5 shooting, and 3 for 4 from 3. So DiVincenzo, he's going to help in steals and scoring, and these are similar stat lines. You're going to see a lot from him. Obviously, you hope he plays more than 19 minutes, but this game was a blowout, like I mentioned early. Brook Lopez, 9 points, 3 boards in 15 minutes of work. He did add all 3 threes to get his scoring there. And Lopez, he'll help in threes. His rebounding ain't that great anymore, but he's a decent center to have on your team. Bobby Portis Jr., he's been balling out since he signed with this Milwaukee team. And a great game for him here. 13 points, 12 boards, 4 for 6 from the field. And he added 2 threes as well. So Bobby Portis, definitely a guy I would look at this week on the radar, and he'll probably be in my waiver wire videos coming up in the next couple days for week 3. But Portis Jr., he's been getting decent minutes, and he's been putting up some decent stats. Breen Forbes, he had a good game in this one. 18 points, 4 or 6 from 3. He didn't add anything else. Forbes, it was just a good game in this one for him. But I don't think he's going to play much, and I don't think he really has fantasy value at this time unless he shows it more in the next few games. Pat Covington, 15 minutes of play, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist for him. But Covington, he don't play enough minutes to have value, in my opinion. And these other guys, Anthony Cooper, Wilson, Morel, and the Nwora, they don't have fantasy value at this time. Now to the Wizards and the Timberwolves. The Washington Wizards get their first win of the season without Russell Westbrook, who's not going to play back-to-backs. And Bradley Beal, he was that guy in this one. So we'll go to the Wizards box score with the 130-109 victory to go 1-5, where the Wolves fall to the season to 2-3 in this one. So for the Wizards, we'll start with Bradley Beal since I spoke about him. 31 points in this one, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 12 for 20 from the field, and 3 for 5 from three-point land. We know Beal's a great scorer. He's going to play a lot of minutes, obviously, this year. The ball's going to be in his hands a lot, with Westbrook or not. But on this night, it was more of a Beal type of game. With Westbrook out of the lineup on the back-to-backs, he played good. He's a stud, and he's putting up the numbers you expected from him. Raul Neto, he's a guy I said who might have value in the games Westbrook sits out, but he didn't do much of anything crazy here. 12 points, 2 assists, 5 for 7 from the field, so he should stay on Wardy's. Devi Avdija, 27 minutes, 11 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 4 for 7 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. So Avdija, I don't think he has fantasy value yet here for fantasy teams, but he's starting for this Wizard team, and he was their first-round pick, so he's going to get minutes and he's going to play. But I don't think he's ready for fantasy teams yet. Hachimura, another decent game here tonight. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 for 8 from the field, 5 for 6 from the foul line. So Hachimura, it's good to see him starting to play now, and hopefully his minutes per game go up and he plays a little bit better. Thomas Bryant, a good game once again, 18 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, and he was 100% from the field, 7 for 7. And he also added a 3-pointer. So Bryant, he's a good player. He's a player I said to sell high, but right now you should keep him. He's putting up good numbers, and it's hard to find good center work this nowadays in fantasy basketball. James Robinson, a good game because Westbrook didn't play. He got 22 minutes of work with 13 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 4 for 8 from the field, and he added 2 3-pointers. So a good game here for Robinson, but that was because Westbrook didn't play, so he got some minutes expanded. Ish Smith too, 20 minutes of work, 5 points, 6 boards, 9 assists. So Ish Smith, he's not on the fantasy radar, but we've seen him over the years have some breakout performances and good games, and he had one here tonight. Robin Lopez, his minutes went up from the last game to now. 19 minutes he played in this game, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 9 from the field. So Rolo, he's going to get playing time. It's going to be inconsistent playing time, but I still don't think he has value, but he's a good role player for this Wizard team. And Bertans, once again, he got drafted 8th to 9th round in fantasy leagues. And in this game, he only played 19 minutes, 11 points, 2 rebounds. He did hit 3 threes, and he was 50% from the field. So right here, Bertans, he's getting the playing time, not major minutes, for a guy they paid $80 million in the offseason for 5 years. But he's still going to play. He's going to help at threes and be a decent rebounder. But I don't think I'm that high on Bertans. And this is probably the best you're going to get from him, 11 to 13 points with a few boards and a few threes a game. And like I mentioned, Westbrook, he rested in this one. So we'll see as the year goes on if he'll start playing in back-to-backs, but the Wizards do get the win. Now on to Minnesota side of things. Jarrett Culver with the start. He didn't do anything here. 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 for 4 shooting, and he's droppable in fantasy leagues if he's rostered on your fantasy team. He's just not consistent and doing the thing right now. Malik Beasley, a good game here, 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 26 minutes of play, 8 for 13 from the field for Beasley, 2 for 2 from the line, and he added 3 threes. Beasley, another guy who got a big contract this offseason here for this ball club, and we'll see if Beasley could keep it up. He's going to start. He's going to play minutes, but they got a lot of mouths to feed there here in Minnesota, even though Karl Anthony Towns, he's week to week right now. Ricky Rubio, he's been struggling mightily, and another bad game here for him, 25 minutes. He only had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 for 4 from the field, then 1 for 2 from 3. So Rubio, I would try to get rid of him if I could. I wouldn't drop him, but I would look to trade him at this time. D'Angelo Russell, he had a mediocre game for his standards in this one. 25 minutes of play, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 for 16 from the field, and 2 for 7 from 3. So Russell, he's just not getting it going so far this season. I thought his numbers would definitely go up big, especially with Towns, who's been out now the last week and a half, but it just hasn't been the case. So hopefully Russell can iron some things out and shoot better here for this Minnesota ball club. Naz Reid, he was a recommended pickup last week at the center position, and he had a great game here with 17 points, 6 rebounds, and assist, even added a 3, and he was 7 for 10 from the field. So Naz Reid, recommended pickup, like I said, with Towns out, and he showed it here tonight with a good game. Anthony Edwards, 26 minutes off the bench, and this is what he's going to do. He's going to be a pure scorer for your fantasy team, and that's about it. 17 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 7 for 16 from the field, 1 for 4 from the line, and 2 for 8 from 3. So Edwards, he's not a good three-point shooter. That's something he's got to work on, and we'll see if he could get that going. The number 1 pick this year in the draft, in the NBA draft, I should say, as the season goes on. McLaughlin, a good game here, 10 points, 4 boards, but he still don't hold value. The veteran Ed Davis, 16 minutes of play, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, but Ed Davis, he don't have value really. When Karl-Anthony Towns and Agogi come back, these guys aren't going to play, and the rest of these guys, Hernan-Gomez, Vanderbilt, McDaniels, they don't have value. So that's that for the Wizards and the T-Wolves. Now on to the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. And the Nuggets struggling mightily so far to start the season. And the Suns with the best record in the NBA right now. They improved to 5-1 with a close victory here. 106-103 over the Denver Nuggets. And we'll go to the Suns side of things here. Jay Crowder, he didn't have a good one in this one. After coming off a 16-point game the night before, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. A Crowder, he's going to be up and down this season. He'll have great games and then he'll have bad games. And if you want him on your team, that's something you're just going to deal with, because he's going to play anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes a game. And he does a little bit of everything. He still had 4 assists, still 3 rebounds, and he only took 5 shots, which was the problem in this one. Mikal Bridges, 36 minutes of play, 14 points, a rebound, 2 assists. He added 4 threes, surprisingly. Bridges is a player I said to sell high last week, and I'll still go by that. I don't think the numbers always be there for him. And in this game, we saw Ayton, Booker, and Paul spread out and combined for about 65 points in this one for this Phoenix Sun team. So now to Chris Paul. Paul, he's been playing well, and anywhere this guy goes, these teams improve. And Paul, another good game. He was drafted 3rd or 4th round of your fantasy teams. 21 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 6 for 12 from the field, 100% from the line, 8 for 8, and he added a 3. Chris Paul, as long as he's healthy, he's going to put up good numbers and help the Phoenix Suns and your fantasy teams. Devin Booker, 34 minutes. He cracked 20 points for the 2nd game in a row here. But what's troubling, he only had 2 rebounds and 2 assists in this one. But he shot about 50% from the field, which is good. And he added 3 threes. I want to see Booker add a little more in his rebounding and assist totals for a guy who went late 1st round, early 2nd so far. He's not just giving you everything you hoped for so far in the season, but I think he'll be fine. DeAndre Ayton, he bounced back with a huge game, 22 points, 11 boards, and an assist, 10 for 13 from the field. So Ayton, he was a buy low candidate. He had a bad ball game the night before, but he bounced back with the vengeance, and he put up numbers we expect from Ayton in this one. So I think he'll be good. He's a guy who would still try to buy low before it's too late, is Ayton, because he's going to be fine, and he's going to have many games like the one he had in this game. Johnson here, 9 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. He's not on the radar, but he did hit 3 threes. You could keep an eye out for him. He's like the 6th man off the bench here for this Phoenix Sun team. And Saric, he was on load management tonight. He's usually the 6th man, but he was out with a little quad injury. Cameron Payne, he didn't do much. Kaminsky, Galloway, they're not going to have value. So that's that on the Sun side of things. Now to the Denver Nuggets. Paul Millsap, a decent game and he's a player owned in about half of fantasy leagues at 50%, and his usage went up a little more with Michael Porter out in this one. 15 points, 5 boards, and assists, but he only played 18 minutes, was Millsap. He's at the back end of his career now. He's a veteran for this Denver team, but it was good to see him have a good game, and I still think he has some fantasy value. Will Barton, he had a bad game in this one. He got the start with Porter Jr. out. 2 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 1 for 7 from the field, and 0 for 2 from 3. I think it was just a bad game for Barton, and he'll bounce back in the next contest here for the Denver Nuggets. I wouldn't drop him. I will hold on to him and just hope that he gets better now. Jamal Murray had his best game of the season, most likely last night. 31 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 12 for 22 from the field, which is good. And he added 4 3-pointers out of 8 attempts as well. Gary Harris, he had a down game in 35 minutes, 7 points, a rebound, 2 assists, 2 for 9 from the field, and 0 for 3 from 3. Harris, I think he'll be fine. Maybe he's still working his way back into shape after that bad injury last season where he came back at the end of the year, but he was still not 100%. Nikola Jokic, this is why you took him in the first round. He came a rebound shy of a triple-double, and he's the best passing big man in basketball is Jokic. 17 points, 9 boards, and 11 assists. 7 of 13 from the field, and he added 3 threes. The Joker, he's a great passer. That's like having an extra point guard on your fantasy team with this guy, and he's a big man that obviously qualifies at center and powered forwards. A Joker, he's going to put up huge games, and he's going to put up many games this season where he has a triple-double or comes close to it like he did here. Monty Morris, he had a decent game, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 30 minutes of work. He might have deep league value. He went 4 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. PJ Dozier, not really value, but he did play 23 minutes in this one. And like I mentioned, Michael Porter out because he might have been exposed to COVID, but he actually qualifies for the injured list in fantasy leagues, which is a good thing because some leagues, if guys go on the list, they don't qualify, but Michael Porter did. So that's that for this game with the Suns with the upset victory here in the early going. Now the next game, which was an upset, in my opinion, the Utah Jazz beat the Clippers 106-100. This game got out of hand early, but the Clippers found their way back late, but just a little bit too late. Nicholas Batum, I said he was a pickup this week at forward, and he's playing the minutes as long as Marcus Morris is out. Batum, he's going to play a tons of minutes, and he played 34 in this one. 9 points, 7 rebounds, only 1 for 4 from the field. 1 for 2 from 3, but he was 100% from the line. So Batum, he'll give you a little bit of everything. His 3-point shooting and field goal percentage has to improve. But besides that, he's been a decent fantasy player so far in the early going. Kawhi Leonard, he played in this one, and he had a great game. An assist shy of a triple-double in this one. 20 points, 16 rebounds, 9 assists, 8 of 19 from the field, and 2 of 4 from 3. So Leonard in that fourth quarter, he really got things going, but it was a little bit too late here for this Clipper team and for Leonard. But if Leonard could play most of the games this season, he's going to definitely have top 10, top 15 numbers when the season's all said and done in fantasy. Pat Beverly, he's not a fantasy asset. Another game where he just didn't do much of anything. 27 minutes of play, 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 of 7 from the field, and 2 of 5 from 3. So Beverly, I would drop him if he's on your team for whatever reason. Paul George, a bad game from the field for him, but he still ended the game with 25 points in 37 minutes. He did add 8 rebounds. He added 4 assists. He did hit 5 threes, and he was 100% from the line, going 8 for 8, but that 6 for 22 from the field is pretty bad. That's about 35% from the field, so he just has to improve that. But George, he's been playing pretty good this season. Serge Ibaka, another decent game, 5 for 12 from the field, 33 minutes of play, 13 points, 4 boards, and an assist, and he added a 3, but in 6 attempts. So Serge, he's a good center, powered forward combo to have on your fantasy team, and he's going to play major minutes here for this team. Marcus Morris and Patterson, they're not going to play major minutes when they come back or get into the rotation, so it's Ibaka's job at center. He's going to play, and I like him. I have him in 2 of my leagues and he's a good guy to own. Lou Williams, another underwhelming game for the former six-man of the year. 24 minutes, 7 points, 5 assists, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 or 2 from the line. So Lou Williams, I don't know what it is, but ever since the bubble, he hasn't been the same. And maybe he's just trying to get his way out of Los Angeles. Who knows? Luke Kennard, he didn't do much. He don't really have value right now. 6 points, 2 boards in 17 minutes. And they paid him a 4-year, $65 million deal. So I don't know what the deal is with him. Zubac, a player I recommended to add on waivers this week. I would like to see Zubac play more minutes. And in limited time, 14 minutes, he did have 12 points, 2 boards, and 5 of 8 from field. Hopefully his minutes go up. And the rest of the guys that played, Scrub, Coffey, and Jackson, and man, they don't have value. Now to the Utah side of things. Royce O'Neal, once again, he didn't do much in 33 minutes of starting time. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 7 from field. Bojan Bogdanovic, I don't know what's gotten into him this season, but another bad game in the second game in a row. Only 6 points, 3 boards, assists, 3 for 12 from the field. I wouldn't drop him yet, but a couple more poor performances. He would be a player on my forward to drop list, so hopefully he bounces back. But it just hasn't been there here for Bogdanovic so far this season. Mike Conley, a huge game. And Conley, I said, is a guy the other night that's a good player to contribute to your fantasy teams. And for the Jazz, the only thing with him is injuries, and his numbers aren't going to be as elite as they were in Memphis. But in this game, he had an elite ball game with 33 points in 33 minutes, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 11 of 20 from the field, and he added 7 3-pointers out of 14 attempts. So Conley, he was feeling it. He shot 50% from 3, and to add 7 threes is a big number in this one. Now to Donovan Mitchell, he's a guy said to buy low this season at the guard position last week, and once again, he didn't have that great of a game as far as Mitchell standards, and with the contract he's getting paid, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 of 14 from the field, which isn't horrible at about 46% from Mitchell, and 3 for 10 from 3. Mitchell, he's got to improve from 3. He's got to score a little more where you got him in fantasy drafts, second or third round in most leagues. So hopefully he bounces back. But if a Mitchell owner is frustrated, like I said last week, I would try to go out there and trade for him because he'll get better from here. Rudy Gobert, decent game. He only played 24 minutes, 12 points, 9 rebounds, and an assist. 5 for 10 from the field and 2 for 4 from the line. Gobert, you know what you're going to get for him. Almost a double-double nightly. 2 or 3 blocks a game almost he'll get you. And he's a solid center to have on your fantasy team. And he's doing what you expected. He's not going to be a guy that's going to go out there and get 25 and 10 on most nights. But anything 15 and 12 is what you could expect from Gobert. Joe Ingles, he bounced back with a good game in this one. He was almost on the drop list, but this game keeps him away from that for now with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in 32 minutes. He's going to be the 6th man. Him and Jordan Clarkson. And Ingles, he can hit threes. He's a good role player. He does a little bit of everything. And we saw it here in this one. So hopefully he keeps it going. Derek Favors, he's been playing pretty decent. And he might be a forward/center on the radar this week to pick up 14 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 for 12 from the field. So Derek Favors, he's a double-double type of player. And he could get 10 and 9 most nights. And this game was a good one for him, 14 and 11. Jordan Clarkson, 21 minutes of work in this game for him. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. So Clarkson, he's going to be the scorer off the bench. He did add 5 rebounds and he added 2 threes. I would just like to see his shot attempts go up here for Clarkson on this Utah team. And they did pay him a decent contract here in the offseason for 4 years, $52 million. So hopefully Clarkson gets more attempts because he's a pretty valuable guy to have on your fantasy team if he's going to get the run. And now to the last game of the night, the Trailblazers and the Warriors. And the Warriors, in all their losses this season, they've been blown out. And another one here, losing by 25 to Portland. So both teams now 2-3. And with Portland, Robert Covington, another mediocre game for him. But I still have faith in Covington, and he's a player I said to buy low last week. 8 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 of 8 from the field, and only 2 threes. Covington, he's got to get his shooting back on par, but he's still helping you in other categories like steals and rebounds, and he's still adding 1.5 threes a game so far in the early going. Derrick Jones Jr., another start for him, but he's a player I said who really don't have fantasy value this season. He's a better real-life player than fantasy player, but he had a decent line in this one. 8 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 of 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from the line, and he added the 3. He's an athletic wing, but he's playing the minutes, but like I said, he's just not doing enough to be on fantasy rosters at this time. Dame Lillard, bounce back game for him, and this is why you took him in the first round. He did a little bit of everything. He had 35 minutes. He had 34 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 11 of 21 from the field, 100% from the line, and he went 6 for 10 from 3. And Lillard, he's a streaky scorer as well. When this guy gets hot from behind the arc, he could rattle him off like he did in this one, going 6 for 10 from the field. And his counterpart, CJ McCollum, another big game for him. And McCollum, he's been just a solid ball player now the last 3 or 4 seasons. He don't miss many games. He don't complain about anything. And he just goes out there and scores the basketball. And in this one, 33 minutes of play, 28 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 2 for 3 from the line, 4 for 11 from 3, and 11 for 21 from the field. So McCollum, he's going to have many nights with pretty good games like he did here in this one. And he's a player I definitely want on my roster. And I have, unfortunately, only in one league, but he can help you a lot in scoring categories and points leagues. Jusuf Nurkic, a player I said to sell high last week, and this game he got in foul trouble. Only 17 minutes of play, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He did add a 3, though, and 3 of 8 from the field. So if someone needs a center and you want to get rid of Nurkic now after a couple underwhelming performances, this might be the time to do it because his numbers haven't been monster, and he's a player that I think will max out this season at probably averaging 12 and 9 a game, which is decent. But where he went in fantasy drafts, 5th or 6th round, it's not that great. Carmelo Anthony, he came back the other night, and another good game for him here. It's just about pure scoring for Melo, and he'll help you in the rebound category as well. 18 points, 5 boards, an assist. He's the 6th man here for this team. Plus, that Gary Trent was out once again with the calf injury. Melo was the main guy with the ball in his hands off the bench. 5 for 9 from the field, and did go 3 for 4 from 3. So Melo, he's rebuilt himself into a different type of player, more catch and shoot now, and obviously he's not going to be the man after bouncing around the league the last few seasons, but he did find the home last season here with Portland, and this season so far in the few games he's played, he's had some good ball games. Anfernee Simons, 11 points, 6 rebounds. He got a lot of shot attempts in 22 minutes, 12 shot attempts, and all his points came off threes from the field goal percentage-wise, but I don't think he has fantasy value. In this game, Rodney Hood, he didn't play much. Zach Collins, obviously, still injured with the ankle injury. And Gary Trent didn't play, so if Trent comes back, Simmons' minutes goes to Trent. And for Enes Kanter, he didn't play much, but he's still a player I'm high on for a double-double guy almost every night in fantasy basketball. But this game, it was more of a small ball type of game, which the way the Warriors play. So Kanter only 11 minutes. He had 5 points, 2 boards, and he hit 3 or 4 field goals. Rodney Hood, like I mentioned, he only played 5 minutes, and that's that on the Portland side of things. And now to the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green, he returned, and he's a player I said to avoid in fantasy drafts this season. And so far, he was hurt the first 4 games, and here in the 5th one, he didn't do anything. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 for 3 from the field. So Draymond, his best days are behind him, I believe. He's not going to do much, and I don't think he's even going to play major minutes when he's back to 100% here for this Warrior team. He'll probably play 25, 30 minutes at most, but on this night he played 17. Andrew Wiggins, it was good to see he improved from the field a little in this one. 5 for 12, still not great, and 4 for 7 from the line, not great at all, and 1 for 3 from 3, but Wiggins at 15 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist. Wiggins, he might be a buy low candidate, or even people might drop him if they can't wait on him and the struggling from shooting. So Wiggins, I think he'll be fine. He's a pure scorer, and maybe a few more games in the system, he'll get more confidence and get going. Steph Curry, another good game for him. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists in 33 minutes of play. 9 for 10 from the field, but he did struggle from 3, 4 for 12. But Curry, he's a stud. He's having a good season so far for fantasy owners. But right now, it's a tough situation in there for him in Golden State without his right-hand man and splash brother and Klay Thompson. And this Warrior team, they probably won't make the playoffs this year. Kelly Oubre, they traded a first rounder for him, and so far, he's not getting the job done for fantasy owners or this Golden State Warrior team. 10 points, 4 rebounds. Again, 0 for 4 from 3. 4 for 12 from the field. For whatever reason, this season, Oubre, he just can't get it going from three-pointer or scoring the basketball. When last season he had 18 points a game for the Suns. So Oubre, maybe the change of scenery didn't help him out so far, but I wouldn't drop him. I would actually buy him low, and if he got dropped in some of your fantasy leagues, I would go out there and get him, because Oubre, I think he'll shoot his way out of this slump and get things going and help turn things around for himself and the Warriors in the early going. James Wiseman, he was limited in this game only to 19 minutes, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 for 8 from the field, 4 for 4 from the line. So Wiseman, he's had some good games so far in his rookie year. And the thing is, he's a rookie. He's not going to be always great. And tonight he wasn't great in this one, but I think he'll bounce back as the weeks and games go on, and he'll be a valuable fantasy player for your fantasy teams this season. Tosco Anderson, he's been playing some decent minutes of late, but he still don't have value in my opinion. 5 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, only 2 field goal attempts. Bazemore, he's a player, we've seen him have some good seasons over the years, and this one, he did get 17 minutes, 8 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist, 3 for 4, but he's not playing enough to get the minutes. Damian Lee, 16 minutes, 2 points, 7 rebounds, and an assist. Last year, with all the injuries, him and Pascal, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, did have fantasy value. But this season, there's no major minutes over there in Golden State, so these guys are best left on the wire for now. But Pascal, he had a great game in short time. 16 minutes, 13 points, 4 boards and assists, 5 for 7 from the field, 3 for 3 from the line, and 0 for 1 in his only attempt from 3. So Pascal, if an injury happens, you know he could put up numbers and help fantasy owners. But right now that hasn't happened, and his role hasn't been expanded. Brad Wanamaker, 15 minutes, 2 points, 2 boards, no value. Kevin Looney, he just hasn't played much in the last few years with his injury problems. But this game, 12 minutes, 2 points, but he's not on the radar. So that was the fantasy basketball recap for January 1st. A lot of games it was last night with 10, and now we got 6 coming up here, January 2nd. But that was the recap for January 1st, and Happy New Year.